Mireille was always the different girl at school, low self-esteem, cruel comments about her appearance, and to top it off, a boy who, pretending to be romantic, declares his love, only to later give her a letter calling her horrible while his friends record her reaction and mock her until she cries. That day, her world falls apart, and she vows to change before entering university. So, she turns to cosmetic surgery. And it works. Now she walks around campus, and all the boys can't take their eyes off her. Taiga, a charming young man, even asks for her number, but Mireille, still bewildered, runs away, and bumps into Kei, the handsomest guy at the university. Amid rushed apologies and a forgotten perfume, she runs off, leaving a trail of mystery behind her. Finally, on her first day of classes, she meets two lovely classmates, Kishimoto and Saki, and also Janami, a naturally beautiful young woman who insists on becoming Mireille's friend. The big shock comes when she finds out that Kei is in the same classroom. As they say goodbye, Kishimoto tells her that her perfume smells amazing, and Mireille, nervous, goes back to look for it, only to find it gone. Then Kei appears and hands it to her with a smile, and at that moment, something in Janami's heart ignites with jealousy. Later, in the hallway, Kishimoto admires Janami's beauty and, in an innocent tone, asks if she's had any enhancements. Janami replies no, and without hiding it, criticizes those who resort to surgery, making Mireille the target of her comments. Kei intervenes firmly, asking her if she enjoys making others feel bad. But Janami pretends not to understand, and he walks away, slamming the door with dignity. That night, Mireille calls her mother, overflowing with happiness. "I finally have friends," she tells her. Unbeknownst to her, that same day, her father, unaware of Mireille's transformation, will attend the university's welcome ceremony. Upon seeing her, he frowns. "Are you Mireille?" He thinks she's another girl with the same name and is about to leave, until Janami, very much playing the good friend role, asks to see a photo of his daughter to confirm. Panic floods Mireille. She screams at her dad not to show anything, confessing her identity amidst the astonished looks. Her father, both surprised and hurt, asks about the surgery. With tears in her eyes, she replies that she couldn't live with her old face anymore, and runs off, leaving Janami behind with a mocking smile. Leaving the ceremony with her heart still racing, Mireille runs without looking and, bam! She crashes into Kei again, collapsing into his arms. He, with that expression of genuine concern, holds her and asks softly why she's crying. She, embarrassed, barely murmurs a sorry, and dashes off, forgetting her perfume again on the pavement. Meanwhile, Kei crosses paths with Janami, who, with that peculiar sweetness, casually mentions that Mireille is the result of cosmetic surgery. Suddenly, Kei frowns. The name Mireille sounds familiar. Yes, she was his classmate in Matsueda High. Nothing had made sense until now. Her voice, her look. Everything falls into place. Mireille, inconsolable, cries in a corner of the campus. Taiga finds her and, with his characteristic tenderness, sits beside her. Seeing her so fragile, he hugs her and bluntly confesses that he really likes her. He leans in as if for a passionate kiss, but Kei suddenly appears, and Taiga, confused, runs off. Then Kei catches up with her, hands her the perfume, and with an apologetic gesture, reveals the truth about their shared past in Matsueda. "I didn't recognize you, until now." Upon hearing this, Mireille gasps in fear and begs him to keep it a secret. Then, between sobs, she heads home. There, her father waits for her, frowning and full of pain. He reproaches her for the surgery and confesses that he misses his daughter's face. His reproach strikes deep, and the next day, Mireille goes to the registration office to process her withdrawal from the university. Just then, Taiga appears, pleading, "Don't go, would you be my girlfriend?" She, unsure, asks for a moment and locks herself in the bathroom, trying to gather her thoughts. But when she comes out, Taiga surprises her. "Forget what I said." He leaves, leaving her thoughtful and hurt. She thinks it's just another joke. Suddenly, a loud crash. Taiga is lying on the floor, tripped by Kei. "It was a mistake," Kei mumbles, but Taiga, furious, gets up and attacks. He lifts a chair, Mireille rushes to intervene, and he unintentionally pushes her, leaving her once again in Kei's arms. While some students murmur against Taiga, he walks away with his head held high. Mireille, startled, feels the warmth of Kei very close and steps away just as Janami appears, with an ambiguous smile. Kei exchanges a tense look with her. And in that moment, the game of glances, jealousy, and secrets barely begins. When Mireille exits the bathroom, Janami approaches Taiga with sad eyes and confesses that she also liked him, but since he only had eyes for Mireille, she would give up her feelings. Upon hearing this, Taiga, filled with disappointment, decides to distance himself from Mireille without looking for her again. Later, Janami spins a lie when she meets him again. She tells him that it was Mireille who admitted she liked him, but that, out of loyalty to a friend, she couldn't start anything, and that she had never had a boyfriend because she was ugly. Hurt and furious by this manipulation, Taiga goes after Mireille and yells at her that he would never go out with a girl who needed surgery to be acceptable. Hurt, she pushes him away and walks off without looking back. Walking in silence, Mireille bumps into Kei, who, in a soft but firm voice, asks her why she resorted to surgery. She confesses with her gaze lowered. If I didn't change my face, I would never have been able to live a normal life. If my face were as beautiful as Saki's or Kishimoto's, I would never have needed surgery. Upon hearing her classify people by their looks, Kei frowns and tells her, maybe you should fix your personality first. Within hours, the rumor of the surgery spreads like wildfire. In the hallway, a group of girls mocks Mireille, but Saki defends her, and Kishimoto offers words of encouragement. Touched, Mireille realizes that she herself had judged her beauty, and feels remorse. Later in the cafeteria, Taiga talks badly about her again, and just as Saki and Kishimoto become enraged, Kei storms in and, without thinking, spills soup on Taiga. Grabbing him by the neck, he warns him in a grave voice, "Stop saying nonsense." Taiga leaves, embarrassed, and Mireille, astonished, recalls an incident from her school days. That day when, after receiving the cruel letter, a classmate threw soup at the boy who mocked her and pushed him away with a protective gesture. Could that brave boy have been Kei? The next day, Mireille enters the perfume shop of her dreams and meets Mrs. Masami, the creator of her favorite scent. With shining eyes, she tells her that years ago, she read an interview where Mrs. Masami proclaimed that true beauty resides in the essence, not in the appearance, words that had comforted her in high school. Moved, she reveals her desire to study science to invent perfumes. Touched, Mrs. Masami invites her to lunch and confesses that she no longer makes fragrances because an injury took her sense of smell, and now she only runs the shop. Just then, Kei enters the restaurant, sees Mrs. Masami, and, overwhelmed, leaves without saying a word. Mireille, puzzled, asks if they know each other, and Mrs. Masami, with a warm smile, replies, "Kei is my son." Meanwhile, Mukai, a third-year student with handsome looks, approaches Saki and Kishimoto to offer them a job as staff for a big university event. At the same time, Mrs. Masami, with a trembling voice, asks Mireille a huge favor, to help her reunite with her son, whom she hasn't seen in 6 years. With her heart racing, Mireille gathers the courage and sends a message to Kei, asking him if he would like to have coffee with her. To her surprise, he agrees. She shares the location with Mrs. Masami, who arrives as soon as she and Kei sit down. Humbly, Mireille apologizes for not telling her the truth from the beginning. Kei's mother intervenes, explaining that she herself pressured Mireille to facilitate the meeting and clear up a misunderstanding. But Kei, hurt, frowns. "Enough with the excuses," he reproaches his mother. "You abandoned me to go with another man," he adds in a firm voice. Mrs. Masami shakes her head with tears, but Kei doesn't listen and walks out of the cafe. Without thinking, Mireille follows him down the hallway and, between sobs, reminds him of that day in high school when he defended her. After the cruel joke with the letter, Kei asked for her help to figure out the name of a perfume his mother used. Thanks to her search, she discovered that scent and started using it ever since. Kei, frowning, confesses that the very same perfume makes him nauseous because his mother used to spray bottles all around the house. Even after she left, the scent lingered in every corner. In a soft voice, Mireille tells him that it must have been really hard for him, and that it must have been difficult for his mother too, losing her sense of smell and being away from her son. Moved, Kei takes out his phone and calls his father to confirm the story, but he diverts the conversation. The next day, Mireille returns to campus and runs into Mukai, who greets her excitedly and formally offers her the part-time job at the event. She accepts with a smile, happy to know that Saki and Kishimoto will be there. Then, Mukai confesses, blushing, that he fell in love with her at first sight and asks to exchange phone numbers. Later, in class, Kei is distracted, staring out the window. Mireille approaches and whispers, "Are you okay?" He sighs and admits that he feels confused. She, with the tenderness of a loyal friend, advises him to talk to his mother. Then, shyly, Kei asks if she would go with him to look for her. And Mireille, without hesitation, agrees to accompany him. Kei, with his brow furrowed in confusion, finally confronts his mother. She tells him the truth she had hidden for years. When she opened her perfume shop, success flourished immediately, but her husband, blinded by jealousy, blamed her for neglecting the home and Kei himself, even though it was never true. One night, tired of his reproaches and jealousy, she stood up to him. He, enraged, shoved her against the wall, injuring her nervous system and robbing her of her sense of smell. Consumed by depression, Mrs. Masami locked herself in her room. A moment her husband took to ask for a divorce and lie to Kei, claiming she had a lover. Hurt and angry, Kei told his mother he didn't want to live with her anymore, and she, broken, left the house. As she confessed all this, Mrs. Masami broke down in tears, apologized, and thanked Mireille for reuniting her with her son. With the atmosphere lighter, Mireille takes Kei's hand and gives him a bottle of perfume as a token of gratitude for defending her in school. This isn't a confession, just a thank you, she clarifies with a smile. But when Kei reads the name of the fragrance, a woman's proposal, his chest beats faster. The next day, our protagonist and her friends, Janami, Saki, and the rest of the group, arrive at the mall for the big promotional event of a drink. They are handed the uniform, a suggestive outfit that makes Mireille blush. Her discomfort grows when she sees Kei appear as part of the organizing staff. He, nervous, notices her hesitation and whispers, "If this makes you feel bad, quit." When she tries to explain it to the manager and he refuses, Kei, with a determined gesture, grabs her hand and pulls her out of the venue. Outside, with lights and curious glances all around, Mireille, shivering with embarrassment, Kei takes off his shirt and offers it to her. When she puts it on, she discovers that he is wearing the perfume she gave him, and a wave of happiness floods her face. He confesses that he will soon see his mother again and thanks her once again for her bravery. After apologizing for the harsh comments he made about her personality, she accepts with a radiant smile that makes Kei's heart race even more. That same night, Kei crosses the city to visit his mother. Amid sincere apologies for his hurtful words and an embrace full of longing, they seal their reconciliation. When he tells Mireille everything, she, with a mischievous smile, says, "I like it a lot," and Kei's heart nearly skips a beat. Then she clarifies, winking, "I'm talking about your perfume." At that moment, Saki, who has been spying on them from afar, understands the truth. Kei likes Mireille. The next day, in the university hallway, Mireille runs into Mukai, who looks at her with knowing eyes and invites her to go out. She accepts, beaming. The following morning, she arrives dressed in a cute spring dress, and when Kei sees her, he's completely mesmerized. In class, she asks him for help in choosing a new perfume. Her friends, curious, ask if she has a date with Mukai, and upon confirming it, Kei can't help but show a hint of jealousy. When they leave, Mireille finds Mukai waiting for her with an improvised bouquet of smiles. "You look gorgeous," he says, inhaling her fragrance. She tells him it was Kei who chose the scent, and Mukai, jokingly, comments that it must mean Kei is also attracted to her. But Mireille, with a nervous laugh, doesn't believe it's possible. Meanwhile, Kei can't focus in class. Saki watches him and whispers in his ear, "Invite her yourself." The next day, clear as day, Kei asks Mireille to accompany him to the museum. She thinks it's for a school project until she remembers Mukai's joke. Many people use those assignments as an excuse for a romantic date. Mireille's heart races at the thought that Kei might be hinting at something more. In the museum, they stroll through paintings and sculptures at a slow pace, talking about perfumes and colors. Then, they go to a nearby cafe, and Mireille, already as red as an apple, hears Kei's unexpected question. "Do you like Mukai?" Surprised, she stammers a no, and he, blushing in turn, asks to forget the question. When they leave, the clouds unleash a sudden rainstorm. They seek refuge under a canopy, and a thunderclap makes Mireille shiver. She clings to Kei's arm, frightened, until she realizes and tries to let go, but he gently holds her. Their eyes meet, and she, unable to say anything else, whispers, "Thank you," and runs off, leaving her heart behind at that corner. Back home, Mireille convinces herself that Kei is just a good friend, but when she sees him the next day, her heart starts dancing in her chest again. That little spark awakens hope in Kei. Later, Janami approaches her with a fake smile and says, "I like Kei too. Will you help me win him over?" Without thinking, Mireille takes her hand and organizes a group dinner, inviting Kei. He accepts enthusiastically, until he sees Janami at the table, and his mood dims. During the dinner, Janami probes his preferences, and Kei, wanting to be subtle, responds, "Someone who wears perfume." But Mireille, distracted, doesn't catch the hint and excuses herself from the table because she receives a call from Mukai, leaving him hanging. Janami seizes the opportunity to throw her charms at him, but Kei, firm, tells her he's not interested. Janami lets out a mocking laugh, and Mireille, seeing them so comfortable, believes there's something special between them, and leaves, leaving them alone at a dinner that, far from clarifying things, stirs up even more emotions. Kei can't stop thinking about what happened and follows Mireille down the hallway. With a trembling voice, he asks why she tried to match him with Janami. She, shoulders raised in an innocent gesture, replies that Janami likes him, and that as a friend, he's always been so attentive, that anyone would be happy to be his girlfriend. As she says this, her gaze softens, and her voice lowers so much that it almost sounds like a small confession, leaving Kei with his heart in his throat. Nervously, he stammers if she likes him, at least a little. But Mireille, blushing, denies it and runs off. However, Kei perceives her lie in that hurry and, secretly, is glad. The next day, Janami runs down the halls telling everyone that Kei rejected her for Mireille. The other girls gossip that Mireille has a fake face, and that Janami is much prettier. Mireille hears the comments, and her spirits sink. Later, she confesses her secret to Mukai. I had surgery, my face is very different from before. He looks at her without hesitation and replies, even so, I like you just the way you are. Meanwhile, Kei crosses paths with Janami at a corner. She throws herself into his arms when she sees him, but at the end of the hallway, Mireille appears, and upon seeing her, Janami releases Kei with a triumphant smile. Annoyed, Kei firmly pushes Janami away, saying, don't touch me. He goes after Mireille, catches up with her, and with a trembling pulse, confesses, I like you a lot. Will you be my girlfriend? But Mireille, drowning in her low self-esteem, doesn't understand how someone as handsome as him could want her. In tears, she rejects him and runs off, leaving Kei devastated. The next morning, Mireille tries to speak to Kei normally, but he responds coldly, it's hard for me to go back to being like before with you. Then he walks away, and Mireille feels an emptiness in her chest. She decides to tell Janami that she will no longer help with her conquest plan. Janami, angry, unleashes cruel comments that reveal her true nature. She was never as kind as she pretended to be. One day in class, a boy approaches Kei and directly asks, do you like Janami or Mireille? Without answering, the boy continues, I would choose Janami. Mireille is a modified human. That insult ignites Kei's rage. He pushes the boy against the wall with such force that Saki and Kishimoto rush to separate them. The boy demands an apology, but before Kei can speak, Mireille appears. With a firm voice and calm gaze, she demands the boy apologize to her. The boy, confused, apologizes and walks away. A few days later, Janami invites Mireille to lunch with her and two boys from class. At first, Mireille casually agrees, until, after dessert, she realizes that Janami goes to the bathroom to vomit. Concerned, Mireille follows her and asks if she's doing it on purpose. Janami denies it with a trembling voice, but soon it's revealed that her silence hides a secret. She's been making herself vomit since elementary school, a consequence of the abuse she suffered when her parents abandoned her. The next day, Mukai knocks on Mireille's door with his heart in his hands and confesses his feelings. Will you be my girlfriend? She, gently, explains that she values their friendship and respectfully rejects him. Before leaving, Mukai gives her a hug and says, you're a wonderful person who deserves to be loved. Don't forget how valuable you are. Touched, Mireille thanks him through tears of gratitude. A little later, Janami goes searching for Kei in the hallway, but when he sees her, he tries to avoid her. She stops him with a warm hug. Mireille, seeing this, feels a pang of jealousy and steps away, thinking, maybe Janami is the perfect match for him. Suddenly, a spark of courage lights up within her. Beauty doesn't define who I am. She walks back with determination, asks Kei to talk alone, and dismisses Janami without a second glance. In the quietest corner of the campus, Mireille, with her pulse racing, finally confesses what her heart had been holding back. Kei, I like you. Will you be my boyfriend? Kei, with a smile that lights up his face, nods and gently takes her hand. Thus, they seal the beginning of their relationship with a sweet pact of confidences. Mireille asks him to keep it a secret for now. In the hallway, a group of boys whispers that Janami likes Kei, and her friend Kato, surprised, frowns in jealousy. In the afternoon, she and Kei take refuge in their favorite cafe. He, somewhat nervous, admits that it's his first relationship and he's not sure how to behave. Mireille, flattered, laughs shyly and tells him, I'm honored to be your first girlfriend. Then, he confesses that he would love to shout it to the world, but will wait until she feels ready. At that moment, Kei's mother appears, sees them hugging, and without hesitation, congratulates them with a knowing wink. The next day, they arrive at university together, and Janami, with a half smile, asks, are you boyfriend and girlfriend or not? The classmates laugh, speculating that it's impossible, until Mireille, proudly, nods. Everyone erupts in cheers, except Janami, who sneaks off to the bathroom. The next day, two students gossip that Janami was rejected by Kei and that she sometimes vomits from the stress. Mireille enters and defends her without hesitation, saying that Janami has a delicate stomach and that they shouldn't judge without knowing. Janami, furious, storms out without looking at her and throws a, "I don't need your pity." One day, Janami bumps into Kato in the hallway. He speaks to her shyly, but she ignores him until he, hurt, yells, "Don't turn your back on me like that." Janami gives him a sharp look and says, "Don't talk to me." Then, she sees some classmates with her picture on their phone and demands, "Why did you take it?" They murmur that it was someone named Hiro who sent the photo. Furious, Janami seeks out Hiro, and when she finds him, she orders between clenched teeth, "Delete that image from your life." Just then, Mireille, Kei, and Saki arrive and witness the scene, and at that moment, Janami's photo appears on everyone's WhatsApp contacts. Mireille tries to console her, "Let me help," but Janami, with pride burning brightly, responds, "I just want to be alone," and runs off. That night, Mireille and Kei track down the account that posted the photo. The person wrote that they initially thought Janami liked them, but it turned out to be a farce, and that they would get revenge. Upon investigating, they discover that the culprit is Kato. Suddenly, a message alerts Kei. Kato has gone to Janami's house carrying a bottle of acid. Alarmed, Mireille and Kei rush to her place. In a dark alley, Janami hears footsteps behind her. Kato appears and throws the bottle with fury. For a moment, time stops, but the liquid barely splashes the ground. Janami, terrified, freezes. Kei bursts in, chasing Kato, who, between sobs, confesses his resentment for not being able to handle the rejection. Mireille steps behind the spilled liquid and finds Janami trembling beside the empty bottle. She offers a glass of water, but Janami rejects it with disdain, saying, "I don't need the pity of an ugly girl." Then Mireille, with a firm voice and determined gaze, responds, "I no longer feel inferior. I've learned that I shouldn't compare myself to anyone." That morning, after Mireille's words, something clicks in Janami. She remembers her father's abandonment when he left with another woman, and then how her mother, unable to see in her anything but a reflection of that man, left her in an orphanage. There, the other children mocked her, whispering that no one wanted her. That double abandonment planted a deep insecurity in Janami. That's why, at school, every time they crowned her the most beautiful, she felt like she finally received the affection she lacked, and when that title was taken away, she would fall into despair and resort to malicious actions to regain it. With the truth exposed, the police arrest Kato, and Janami requires medical care at the hospital. Mireille, without hesitation, stays by her side day and night, and this silent companionship touches Janami's heart in a way she never imagined. Weeks pass, and the day of Mireille's father's birthday arrives. With Kei by her side, she walks through the door of her house and, with a proud smile, introduces him to her mother as "my boyfriend." Upon hearing this, her father, with shining eyes, becomes emotional. "The most important thing is to see you happy, my daughter." For her part, Janami decides to return to classes. As a token of gratitude for everything Mireille has done for her, she gives her a bottle of perfume filled with sweet, woody notes, a symbol of friendship and forgiveness. Finally, the long-awaited day arrives. Kei's birthday. Mireille walks into the cafe, places a small package, wrapped with care, on the table, and pretends to search for something in her bag. Until suddenly, without warning, she approaches and kisses him gently, whispering in his ear, "Happy birthday, Kei." He, surprised and radiant, reciprocates the kiss, sealing with sweetness the end of this beautiful story of hearts that learn to heal, trust, and love each other for who they are. The end of the drama.